Hey everybody, TG Watkins here with Simpler Trading, and this is going to be your daily 5. Now the market, it's pretty brutal out there right now, and so I figured what I would be doing is taking the current events of what we're seeing out there and actually talking about the bearish side, talking about how we have some setups here to where you can see through the Moxie indicator, don't be long, or maybe you go short, or just avoid everything altogether. So this is going to be a different one than what we normally do because, well, we are not in a bull market right this moment. Yes, overall, the markets are still trending up and they're elevated, but boy, you look at the scenery out there and things are breaking down very hard and fast. So we're going to be going through some of those names and showing you the bear side of stuff. So let's get into the first one. We're going to start right with the S&P. And this, if anybody is familiar with kind of the stuff that I teach, I talk about on the long side, the trampoline move all the time. Well, now we're getting an inverse trampoline move, which is basically the same thing as just upside down. So it is, in this case, a very bearish signal, and we're getting it on the S&P daily. So this is the S&P, this is the daily chart. You can see right here, this is the Moxie price trigger firing to the downside. What that means is that the indicator has gone negative. So that means energy and momentum is negative. And so when that happens, price should not be over the 50 while the indicator is negative. That is a bad signal. It basically is a false long. And if not even a stronger short side entry. And then what you can see here is if we move over to the hourly chart, so the middle one, you can see that just the other day, earlier this week, price came up and got rejected by the underside of the hourly 50 SMA at the same time that the Moxie indicator went negative and painted this Moxie price trigger to the downside. It doesn't get any more obvious than this as far as the bear side. I'll show you one other thing about, so this daily chart, this is the inverse trampoline move. Well, check this out. We had an inverse trampoline move right there because the Moxie indicator below 0 and price was above the 50 and right there. So those were both keys. So imagine this on the hourly chart now over here on the daily chart, and you can see why this might be a really big deal out there. So please be aware of this, be careful out there. It is not the time to be trying to catch anything to the long side. If anything, start looking short if you can do that, and if you're experienced with that direction. So on the 15-minute, you can see here also price kept getting trapped underneath the 15-minute 200, and then just the other day, right there, you can see price got rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50, and the Moxie indicators keep trending to the downside. So again, be very, very careful. We're watching this morning, and the market gapped down and continues to bleed lower. So yeah, watch out below. Some other situations that we're looking at with NIO. Now, I got caught up with NIO and a couple other tickers. I thought we were going to be getting a bounce in through here, and because it did set up with one of my regular trampoline moves right there. The thing that I missed and that I want to make sure that other people know, because it is part of my rules, I just jumped the gun. But right here, if you look at the 15-minute time frame, price never held that moving average. It never held it. And so this is the thing that, if you look at this, you're like, oh, that's not working out. It should be over that moving average. It should be using it for support, just like this. And when it didn't, that's when you need to get out. So we quickly reversed our decision, and thank goodness we did, because you get in long here, you realize you made a mistake, and good thing you get out, because otherwise you're going to be in a world of hurt. So one more way that we can look at this is, if you don't get down on the 15, is look at the hourly. You can see that price ran right into the underside of the hourly 50, turning it from potential support to definite resistance. And that's the kind of stuff that you need to be aware of. Or if you want to short, you can use that as opportunities to short. And you can see clearly here the 15-minute Moxie indicator, very red, very tight together, and definitely pulling everything down. So at this point, people are asking me like, well, how far is this going to go? Where is it going to go? I don't know. It's the same thing to the long side. I never give price targets because I'm just going to watch price and follow how it goes. Same thing to the downside. I've got my guidelines, I've got the moving averages, and we just watch this stuff until it says, no, I'm done going down and I want to bounce. So I don't know, maybe we get something around here as a double bottom. Maybe we actually go lower. Maybe we go to the daily 200. This stuff can get brutal. When things start selling off, they can just keep going because people hit the eject button. So be real careful if you're anything. And really, I'd say if you're stuck on something, just get out. It's much easier to just get out, clear your brain, and then you can move on from there. Now, the other situation I want to show is yet another inverse trampoline move. This is on XONE, which is a 3D printing situation. And this is the same thing I'm talking to you about with the daily S&P. And I want to show you some other examples that have been working out so that you can now apply it to the daily chart and be aware of kind of the brutal situation that we might be in for. But right here, you can see that price was over the hourly 50, but notice that the Moxie indicator never got over zero. That is an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. So that gave you a big heads up. Do not go long in here. If anything, maybe look short if you are savvy like that. The other thing you could look at is here, same thing as NIO. And with the S&P, they're all getting stuck and trapped and rejected by the underside of a downtrending hourly 50. That is a very, very stark indication. You guys need to be aware of it because it's the same thing I trade going long. I love to use these moving averages as support when I go long. So it's the same thing that when they become trapped in resistance and actually pushing price down, that's how you start seeing some short signals for an entry. Then we can jump over here, SOS. Now, this is a Bitcoin related stock. It's a Bitcoin miner and all that. And I was trading this one a little bit early because I was seeing here there was a double bottom and we had some indications on the 15-minute time frame. So we did start going in right here and it actually started working out. But as time went on, and this is where you need to be able to think about outside of both ways in your brain and be able to change your mind if you need to and be aware that things may not always be lasting. So we started with that, it started to work, and then we continued right there to have price support the hourly 50. But price continued to move up. I kept noticing like, oh, the Moxie indicator just isn't getting it done. It's just not getting over zero. Like, this is a problem. It's starting to turn into an inverse trampoline move. So this was a really good example that I love showing people to where we get in on it based on a lower time frame and the higher time frame here on the hourly chart just never works out. And you need to be aware of this. Moxie indicator was telling you the whole time, I can't get over zero, even though price is over the 50, this is going to be a problem. And so you could see here, price tried to go higher on the 15-minute time frame. Look at the Moxie indicator. It just couldn't do it. It could not get higher despite higher price. And so when price started to break down through these 15-minute 50s and the Moxie indicator went full red and below zero, that was the combination that I needed and said, nope, this thing's not going to work. So we got out with a fairly good profit. I think it was about 20% on this one. So pretty decent. And that was definitely the information we needed to say, hey, this is not going to be working out to the long side. Now, as far as Overstock, this was another one that is kind of Bitcoin related. And this one actually helped guide me to some of the other Bitcoin in general, like GBTC and Bitcoin itself, because I was looking at this and I said, hey, this thing is going to be getting rejected by the hourly 200. And then look at the 15-minute, you can see price try going higher. The Moxie indicator just kept going down and down and down. The other thing, if I'm looking over here on the daily chart, I use a term called an elf shoe. Basically, it's a double bottom. This was the arch of the foot. And if you guys notice, the 8, which is this blue line, and the 21, which is the orange line, the blue line, the fast moving average was still underneath the slow moving average. This thing never crossed. It never actually became bullish. And so once price started to fall through these 15-minute 50s, and again, look how red and look how strong that Moxie indicator was to the downside. And it now started using the 15-minute 50 as a guide to the downside, falling through the hourly 50. I looked at this and I said, I think Overstock is going to start rolling over, and they travel in packs and they bring their friends. So if this Bitcoin stock and SOS is another Bitcoin stock, and then I started looking at Mara and Riot and GBTC, all these things were looking pretty shaky. They looked like maybe they could go up, but they're also kind of looking shaky. And I was like, I'm looking at this. I think it's going to go down. So I think the rest of them are going to go down. And that's when you just step aside, maybe take a short, you just go to cash, something like that. But this is how you start making sure that you keep yourself safe with your account. So with that, that'll conclude your daily 5. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to know a little bit more about me, you can come check out a few things that I have. The newsletter, I've gotten a lot of people who say they really appreciate this. I write all sorts of stuff in here. I don't mince words, and I'm pretty straightforward and transparent about the stuff that I write with the market. So profit-pilot.com. Then, of course, you can go over here, Twitter, and then Facebook and Instagram if you want to check out a little bit more about my personal and business life and some of the stuff that I'm doing out there. And then we got one more little thing that if you guys want to be looking at, I did just wrap up a big class. It was my biggest class ever. There are a lot of people coming into the market. They want to know how to do this. They want to make sure that they catch good stuff. I was talking to some of the team members recently. I said, I'm really saddened and concerned that a lot of the people who put in stimulus money that they get into the market, and they're doing it right now, and it's going to be a tough situation because the market just keeps going down and they're going to lose it. So I want to make sure that people know how to do this stuff. And so I teach how I made $2 million in a day when all these other stocks were snoozing. I mean, we look at Nvidia, Amazon, Apple, like they're just not moving. And yet during the whole time, 4 or 5 months that they weren't moving, they were going sideways, I was making a lot of money. I was helping people make a lot of money, and cap it off with a $2 million day, which was fantastic. And this is the kind of stuff I'll be showing you. And yes, for anybody who wants to know, I do talk a bit about the short side, so that if you want to take shorting, if you want to go short on something, I teach you how to do that. So thanks again. I do appreciate it. And I'll be seeing you guys out there in the markets.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.